name is Shirley HOGG, and I'm here at the State-of-the-Art Gallery in Ithaca, New York, where I have a show called Awaiting the Ark. And my concept was to paint all endangered animals life-size. I always paint life-size, and I wanted them to be life-size, to give people that feeling of seeing an animal they would never see up close. So we can look at the wolves here. These are the little anteroom before we go into the main show. And there are 4 animals here who have been held by man and are now thriving. And these are the Yellowstone wolves, very, very famous for the trophic cascade they've generated there. And they have restored Yellowstone Park to its previous state, where they drove the elk off, and the trees are now coming back, the animals are coming back on the plains, and the rivers are actually changing. So that's a wonderful story for wolves and for us, and it makes us realize that we're all connected here. We've got to work together. So this is a torii, a Japanese gate that traditionally in Japan, and China too, leads you into a sacred space. And this is what I guess I would think of as the ark. All right, now we're in the shrine, in the ark, as I call it. And I put a domestic white turkey. People don't know what a turkey looks like. So this is a life-size domestic white turkey. I put 25 million is the population presently in America. And over here, we have the California condor. Very like in terms of their head patterns and everything, although this is a traditionally sacred bird, an exquisitely huge bird. And the population in America right now is 415. That's because of man. Okay, let's look at these guys. These are golden lion tamarins, an exquisite little primate, and they live in Brazil. But the problem is they're not living there very well. Their habitat has declined by 90%. And we'll find for most of the animals in this show that I've chosen, and even if I didn't choose, whatever animal you look about, almost every single one, it's a human encroachment of a habitat loss, in other words. So these have little broken patches here and there. 90% of their habitat is gone. So they live in zoos. Here we have the little rockhopper penguin. And these are wonderful little birds that, unfortunately, like all penguins, are declining. But these guys have declined 90% in the very few last years. And what's worrying about this is we don't know why. We think it's because with global warming, the patterns of their food fish have changed, but we don't really know. So, as my son says, you think somebody's on top of this, somebody knows about every animal, but they don't. So, we've got to do a little more research and find out what's going on. Okay, the polar bear. I call this painting Melting Away, and I think that's pretty obvious what that means. And I tried to have his self be melting into the white ground, but also to give that feeling of perhaps great space from the Arctic. And of course we all know it's global warming that's causing these critters not to be able to live the way they like to and to find their prey. So it's melting away. This is the eastern cougar, and this exquisite animal was only declared extinct in 2011. He hasn't been seen since the 50s, but they take a while to be sure that this animal is not spotted somewhere else. As I was painting him, I covered him with this trace to protect him while I painted other animals, and I thought, that's the way to show him, because we're not going to ever see this animal again. So I put a shroud or a film over the viewing of him, and people find that quite moving. I find it moving myself. The African elephant. I did this one 3D. I decided that wouldn't it be fun to have his tusk and his ear, because I want people to see these creatures, to go up to them and see how big they are. You could never get this close to an elephant, but you can here, and you can see that tusk and those eyes. And this is a big part of my show, trying to get people to feel the presence of these creatures and perhaps care. Okay, last but not least to show you on this video is the spirit bear. And he's at the very end of this shrine-like space. I think of him sitting like a Buddha. He took me 4 years to paint. He evolved very, very slowly. But I had those eyes with me throughout this show. And I think of him as a spirit bear for me, as well as for the show. And it isn't just me. Many, many, many cultures, the American Indian, the Japanese, well, you could go on, have thought of the bear as the great spirit because of his dignity and his great strength, the fact that he can stand like a man, fight like a man in the upright position. He's always had a mystical presence in the life of mankind. So I put him here in samurai armor because the samurai were great warriors and had a huge code of honor, which they did follow. And so this is a very deep presence in the animal world, and he's the protector of all of us.